Hello, my YouTube family and friends. I pray that everyone has had a beautiful, blessed Thursday in the mighty name of Jesus. If you have not said it already, let's say it together. Thank you, Jesus, for another day. Y'all, excuse my German Shepherd. My youngest son is coming home, so he can't contain himself. Excuse me, but try not to be before you too long. I want to read Deuteronomy, the 10th chapter, verse 18. He defends the cause of the fatherless and the widow and loves the alien, giving him food and clothing. So again, that was Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 18. And so I wanted to just briefly talk about something that's been really, it really applies to my life. And it's been this way for a while. So, and I want to title this video, Where Have You Been? Where are you? And I'm speaking of fathers that are not present in not only their daughters' lives, but, their sons' lives, grandchildren, whatever the case may be, they're just not there. They have not answered the call of the role that they have in the family. And, I just kind of sort of give you a brief background on what I had to deal with. So, and I never really thought about a lot of this till we moved to Colorado. And I'm like, wow, it's really important for a father to be present for his daughters, not only his daughters or sons, but his wife, his family. He plays such a significant role in his family. And so I'm just talking about myself, of course. So I grew up, of course, without my biological father. And I want to tell the men out there, whoever that watch this video, it's very important to do what you can while you can, because you just don't realize how big of a presence you have and I'm going to speak from my side, big presence you have in your daughter's life. If you have daughters, or even your son, but I'm talking about daughters because that's what I'd never experienced that from my father. But so from what I understand, my dad, my biological father, my stepfather stepped in and took over the role of being, taking care of me, everything. I believe I was been told, he's been taking care of you since you was 3. That's what I was always told. So I just rode with it, and I was like, okay, and from the pictures and stuff that I would see back in the day, it would be evidence of that. Because, I would see every now and then I see a picture. It'll be a whole big photo book, but it'll probably be 2 or 3 pictures of my dad holding me. So I'm like, yeah, that must have been true. So anyway, so when I was 3 years old, my stepfather took over and started just taking care of me. But now, and I don't know, what happened before that or whatever, but I just know my biological father wasn't in my family. Wasn't in my, he wasn't in the family, the immediate family in the home, but he wasn't in my life. And so, anyway, I grew up under that, and so, and like I said, I never realized until I got older with my own family how much, that really, it bothered me, spiritually, because after a while, if you don't have somebody in your life, or, your dad or whoever, you're like, okay, but then it starts becoming more and more evident when you got stuff at school, you see your mom. I saw my mom just trying to do everything by herself. And I mean, she struggled trying to make sure I had what I needed, but, and she didn't, let's just be real. She didn't, he laid with her to, to create me or whatever. But, a lot of times, and I'm just being honest, from my point of view, a lot of these fathers, these dads, they skip out. And so, and not all of them, because I was married to a really good husband and father, and he took care of his family. So the Lord gave me more than enough from what I didn't get growing up. But again, when I was little, like I said, when my stepfather came on the scene, he took over. He took that role wholeheartedly. He took care of me and stuff. He didn't really do all the personal, like help me with homework and, but he did take time with helping me get my first car, showing me, because he knew about cars. So, you know, he helped me in that aspect. He helped me, you know, not really. I didn't talk to him because he was way older. He was a little older than my mom. So he didn't really, I didn't sit down with him and have no daughter talk about sex and that. No, it wasn't none of that, you know, and he didn't help me in that area. But I mean, you know, making good decisions about dating and stuff like that was what I'm saying. But he did help me with the other stuff, you know, like a car, and telling me, well, this is what you should get, and make sure you get oil change. You know, he helped me with that type of stuff. So I appreciated that. And, you know, but going back to my biological father, it was always a, you know, sort of humorous to other family members. I'm just giving y'all, you know, just a little, just giving you some background here. So what I had to deal with growing up. So as I became older, because like I said, he hadn't been taking care of me, you know, up until I was 3 years old. And then he just, I don't know, he just flew away or whatever. But come to find out, he had other children by other different women. So he was just, you know, and then I think one of my family members or somebody I was dating or somebody said, you know, your papa was a Rolling Stone. You know, they made real light of that. But really, it's nothing funny about that, y'all. Because that means, you know, yeah, he was laying his head down on these different women's pillows, but he wasn't taking, it was no responsibility. He wasn't doing anything that he should have been doing for these children. These children had to grow up without a father in the home, and the women had to struggle. You know, what's funny about that? But, you know, we'll laugh about stuff that don't need to be laughed at. And, you know, at the expense of somebody, of a child or whoever, you know, it's funny to us. So anyway, I had to deal with that a lot growing up, you know, teasing me, you know, when the last time you seen your daddy, you know, and a lot of times they will have seen him a lot more than I had. You know, some of them hung out with him, but I don't know, I feel like, you know, now I think back on that was the enemy using them, trying to taunt me about that and, you know, make fun of how he wasn't in my life. And I'm sure it was meant, you know, to destroy me, but it did not. It made me better. It made me better. And God even saw fit for me to get married to a man who did way more than my dad ever did for me. He did it way more for his children and for his wife, me. So I thank the Lord for my late husband for 21 years. We didn't have a perfect marriage, but we served a perfect God. And like I said, one thing everybody that ever met him can say, he took care of his family. Yes, he did. He took care of his family. And so anyway, going back to my biological father, he, like I said, he strutted around town. You know, he would be seen different places or whatever. And, you know, then he made, when my mom and my stepfather, you know, when they got married and stuff, he was coming over I remember some of this. You know, I was in middle school, I think, at the time, and he was coming over, you know, to see me or whatever, or he was saying he wanted to see me because he saw where my mom had moved on. And even though he didn't want to be with her, you know, but you know how it is, you know, I don't want to be with you, but I want to see what you got going on, what's going on there. So I remember this one particular time, y'all, I was so excited. I found out he was coming to see me. He came over there with a box of fruit. I think it was a box of fruit. It was like a fruit basket. Can't remember if it was around the holidays. I don't remember, but I just remember oranges, apples, or something. And, you know, that was his gift of love, you know, which it's nothing wrong with that. But I was a child, y'all. I was so happy. And I want to say my mom had did my hair, and I don't remember he came to get me and take me anywhere. I just remember he came to visit me. I believe at the house then when I was in, I think it was middle school or could have been junior high school. I can't remember. But anyway, I was just so giddy. You know, I was so geeked. I was so happy. You know, my dad's coming to see me. You know, he don't live with me. He don't take care of me. I hadn't seen him in quite a long time, but I was so happy, y'all. And so, like I said, I think it was a super short visit. My stepdad and him. Now, just to give you some background, my stepdad and him, they been knowing each other. Like, they had a little history. They weren't close friends or nothing like that, but they knew each other from different, you know, like friends of friends of friends and stuff like that. And so, and then my biological father, he knew a lot of my mom's family. Like, he knew, because my mom was younger than a lot of her siblings. So he knew them, of course, because he was a little older than my mom. So he kind of had hung around them, stuff like that. So just to give you some background. So he was real familiar with our family, my mom's family and stuff. And that's what's so surprisingly enough, you know, he just didn't do right by her. But yet he knew her brothers. The some have since passed away. He was real good friends with one brother of hers that passed away. You know, I mean, they were super tight and stuff, hung out together, you know, just they drank together, smoked together, whatever they did. But it's pictures with evidence of that. And so, you know, surprisingly enough, he didn't do right by the hangout friend, you know, sister. So, you know, but anyway, that's another video. So anyway, so when he came over to visit, to see me or whatever, like I said, it seemed like I remember my mom doing my hair, because I had long hair then, did my hair in little ponytails or whatever. I was just so happy because, you know, at that particular time, had gotten used to my stepfather, but I just still didn't spiritually fully accept him in my life. You know, I was like, you know, I just didn't, you know, I was sort of rebellious, but it wasn't to the point that it was just nasty to him or nothing. But I just, you know, it was just a hard pill to swallow, because I was trying to figure out, why was my dad, my biological father, where was he at? Where was he at? You know, where are you at? And I knew he still lived in the town in Tennessee. I knew because my family members and my uncle, who was living then, he would always remind me every time I would go over there. So some time went on. Of course, I got older. And like I said, that's when it was really, really, you know, they made it just a big deal then. You know, I go to my uncle's house and, you know, when the last time you seen your daddy? You know, and I said, well, it's been a while. And, you know, it would always, and now that I think about that, it would always make me feel some type of way. And, you know, I try to laugh it off, but I was like, I was thinking to myself, why are y'all, you know, why are they asking me? And I would tell my mom, and it just rattled her, because she would be like, you need to tell them that you haven't seen, you know, she would get real upset. But I was, you know, I was young, because by this time I was in my 20s, and or close to my 20s. And like I said, I'll be sitting around their house having just a good old conversation, or sometimes I wouldn't even be talking, and they'll bring that up. And then they'll go way back to when he was actually around me when I was a baby, I guess. And they'll bring something up which I didn't even recall, because I had no memory of it. But I remember, y'all. And like I said, I like to share, because this is going to free somebody else. It's going to help somebody. And y'all put in the comments if y'all can relate to any of this. But because I know I'm not the only one that's gone through this foolishness. But I'm revealing it all. I'm revealing it all because, you know, it was no reason for it to happen. But I understand now, you know, when generational curses have been placed upon families, when people are allowing the enemy to use them, and they have no regards for God, for the Almighty God in heaven, and they don't care to know him, don't want to know him, and this is what happens. This is the result of that. But anyway, like I said, I would sit around. I mean, I would be over their house, and they would just just bringing up old stuff. You know, imagine I'm in my 20s. They bringing up something when I was probably maybe 1 year old. And I shared a video about that. My memory don't go way back to then. I don't know if anybody's does, but I don't remember really before the 3rd grade. I just don't have that type of memory. But anyway, so they would bring up this one particular story, and I don't know how true it is or was, but my uncle that passed away, he thought it was so. Now, keep in mind, he drank, he smoked, you know, but whenever he would tell this, most of the time he had been drinking or whatever. But I feel like it had somewhat truth to it. But he would, and I want to make sure I tell you before I tell you the story, he thought it was so funny. He thought it was the funniest thing ever. And my aunt, you know, the one that I shared a video where all her children have passed away, that's who she was married to. And they all just thought it was so funny. And they weren't laughing with me, they were laughing at me. I realize that now. But anyway, the story went something like this, you know, yeah, he whooped you because they said I had went to the bathroom myself. So I guess I could have been like, maybe, I guess I was being potty trained more, so you'll understand what was going on. And so I guess this particular day or whatever, he actually was around me, and he wanted to be a dad, but he was being a dad in a sort of crazy way. And I don't know if he went back and told this story and that's how they know it, remember it so well, or if my mom told it. I don't know, y'all. I really don't. It don't even matter now. I'm 51 years old now. But I'm just sharing with you all to let you know what has gone on in my life. And so anyway, and I thank the Lord. He's delivered me from it all. But anyway, so yeah, my uncle, like I said, he just be so laughing, just out of control. Yeah, he got you and he whooped you. Ooh, he whooped you. You didn't never do that no more. And I'm like, wasn't I getting potty trained? You know? And so I don't know, y'all. Like I said, I don't know what extent the whooping went to, but they just thought it was so funny. You know, they thought that was so funny. And so, like I said, now that I think about it, isn't it, what's funny about that? You know, the one time that you actually, you know, that's being so stressed that you were actually, or being so, the time that is being so emphasized that you was in my life, you was whooping on me, you were chastising me in a, probably sounds like to me it was kind of in a crazy way, you know, borderline, could have been questionable there. But anyway, you know, it's neither here nor there now. But God made me better anyway, you know, him not being in my life actually. But so like I said, my uncle would always bring that up, and then a few other family members. And at the time, of course, his children were living, and they thought it was so funny too. Yeah, she didn't do that no more after he did that. And I don't even remember him even, you know, like I said, I wasn't really around him a lot for him to even recall any story. But this is just what I would always have to deal with when I went over certain family members' homes, because they seemed like they just had the biggest memory of what happened to me. What happened to me. Not what happened in their life, but it always would bring up something negative, or, and this is before I got married, or, you know, something that wasn't so pretty to remember. And so, and be mindful of people who are always bringing up your past, especially stuff that is not so pretty. You know, be mindful of those type of people, because you probably want to stay far away from them. So anyway, like I said, as years went on, I would always deal with that. So when I ended up getting married, and you know, I'm in my 40s now, 30s, 40s, whatever. So he started, I'm trying to remember, how did he start? So, well, let me go back. So he wasn't around for my wedding. My stepdad walked me down the aisle, which was fine. I don't even, because I didn't know where he lived, because he was always bouncing around. So, you know, I would hear, well, he's in Tennessee, then he would go to Georgia, then he would go whatever. So he was just always, you know, you couldn't like pinpoint him nowhere. He was always, it's just what he did. And so, and I want to bring this up. So my dad, my biological father, is very handsome. He's 6'2", whatever, I guess. And so, and I'm bringing that up because I feel like in a way he was a womanizer, and I'm not bashing my dad. You know, I'm not, y'all. I'm telling y'all the truth. And so this is where I'm giving you some background here. And it's not, you know, I can't make none of this up, but I feel like that's what he did to a lot of those women. And he used his good looks. He used his, you know, his height, I guess, I don't know. And, you know, I don't remember him ever really working, like holding down a job. He always was with some woman that took care of him, you know. And I don't think he stayed with my mom long enough for her to even do that. But it could have been, you know, he was trying to, I don't know. But I just know with those other women, because a few he actually married, you know, that's just what he did. And when the times got rough, he got gone. You know, he got gone. But anyway, so when I got married, trying to remember, so I still was going to my family member's house. You know, they would say, well, have you seen him? You know, and I said, no. You know, and they said, well, I heard he in town. So the uncle that passed away, he would always go over that uncle's house, his hangout friend from back in the day. You know, they sit and talk. My late uncle would catch him up on what's going on. You know, he asked about me, I guess, probably in one sentence. Well, where's she at? And, you know, he knew I was married. He knew, you know, he would catch him up to speed, you know. Well, she got 2 children now. She got 3 children now. She got 4 children now. So he always knew what I was doing, but he never spent time with me, y'all. He never looked me up. He never, if he called me, it was a, hey, how you doing? I love you, you know, bye. And back, another 5 years go by. So, you know, it was never a relationship, is what I'm trying to get the point across. And so, but family members, he would go over that, like my late uncle's home. And after my uncle passed away, my aunt would catch him up to speed. And she'll call me and she'll say, because me and we were real close before we moved from Tennessee. And she'll say, hey, your daddy was just over here, or your daddy over here. And now there was a point in time where I would get so happy, and I would literally, I gotta get over there. But I was doing that before I got married. I don't remember doing it after I got married, because my late husband said, don't go over there. You know, he get me in line, y'all. He said, He had his time, and he said, you pray for him and keep it moving. You know, he said no, and so he would get me back on track, because I would always, well, he said, you grown now. Everything been taken care of now. That's what my late husband used to say. But before I got married to him, it worked. He over here, and he's sitting on the couch, y'all, like he don't took care of everybody, child. And ain't took care of nobody. Ain't paid no child support, ain't did nothing. And I'm just being real, y'all. I'm just being real. I'm not lying. I can't make it up. And so I go over there like a little, 3-4-year-old. That's my daddy, doing all that foolishness. But I didn't know who I was in Christ. And when you don't know who you are in Christ and who in Jesus Christ, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. So you're being led astray. People can pull you here. They can pull you there. You don't know. You don't know your true identity. Our identity is in Jesus Christ. We are we're more than conquerors. We are who he say we are in his holy word. We're overcomers. But like I said, I wasn't in my word then. I wasn't in church. I wasn't doing nothing. I was in the world. So, I'm the little girl, even though I'm grown, but I'm the little girl, okay, my daddy just want to spend time with me. Ain't never been in my life, but, he had my attention for those 20 minutes or however long, he was around. So anyway, when I would go over to my aunt's house, late uncle's house, so, he just sit up in there, like he was just this big man in the world, and be always dressed nice, cologne down, fresh haircut, sunglasses on, he cool man. And so I just, of course I just fold up like a little girl, and he come over here and give your daddy a hug. And he give me a hug, and I don't remember him ever, I'm trying to remember, I don't ever remember him giving me money, or I never asked him for any, but he never, it was just always, take me for what bask in my presence. It was like that. And then I go back to where I was, my house, apartment, whatever I had at the time. Like I said, another 5 years, 10 years go by. But y'all, I remember this, I'm trying to bring you all up to date. So when I was pregnant, like I said, he wasn't a part of any of my children's lives. They didn't know, my children didn't know about him, really. I told them about him, because they, I finally sat them down and said, your pawpaw is not my biological father. And so I think my youngest son said, Mama, I kind of figured that, So I kept that from them for a while, because I'm like, why even tell them that? Because that's all they know. So they only knew my stepfather, and they knew my late husband's father. Those are the only two dads they knew. So then, out of nowhere, here my biological father starts creeping back around. And so I'm trying to remember when I was pregnant with my last child, the one that's in college now. I'm trying to remember. He some kind of way found out where we lived. And in the house that I sold when we moved here from Tennessee, and we stayed there almost 20 years. He found out where we lived. He came up to the house. So I was actually pregnant with her. So he took me to, come on, let's go to him, and my my brother came, because we got the same daddy. So me and my brother, that I had no relationship with him either, but had the same daddy, different mama. So he brought him over there. Hey, like they just been around me for years. You finna have a baby, yeah. And he, come on, let me take you to get some chicken. So we went to, I'll never forget this, y'all. We went to KFC. It was late that night. It was like maybe 7 or 8 o'clock. So my late husband, he was at work. And he said, yeah, it's good that I wasn't here. But he knew that he wasn't there. And see, my late husband didn't care for him, because, like I said, it never sat well with him after I told him what, all the stuff that I had to go through growing up. And he said, why he coming around now? And he said, yeah. And so he just always, he had very few words to say. He didn't say anything mean, but like I said, he had no whatever with him. He just couldn't see eye to eye about the father stuff with him, because he took my late husband, he took care of his family, so it was like we have nothing in common. And he was trying to bond with my late husband, and he wasn't having it, y'all, because he said he don't take care of his responsibilities. So anyway, so he thought that was just the biggest thing. Come on, let's go. And y'all, I stood up in that KFC that night, my belly, I'm pregnant. I think I was like 8-9 months then. Him, me, and my brother, which I hadn't seen in years. And we, it was just like we had been out together all the time. Well, what you want on the menu? But y'all, again, I was like a little girl. Because I was so happy. I didn't care. I didn't judge him at that time. I didn't care, because I was like, if only for just a few moments, if only for just an hour or two, he in my life. He gonna be back out again, but right now he in my life. And so I was like, well, maybe, I'm always thinking positive, y'all. I said, well, maybe my daughter finna get ready to be born here in a little while. He gonna come back in my life. They gonna have a granddad and a third granddaddy. I'm always thinking positive. I'm always thinking the best. Is this gonna turn out really good? No. So we went on. We got the chicken. Went on back, the bucket of chicken, whatever. And he of course, he paid for everything, and he standing back, like he gave me $1,000, and I'm like, I guess it's something to eat, whatever. So I let him buy it, and we went on back to the house. So okay, I'll see you later. And like I said, so he actually came. I'm trying to remember. I think he came up to the hospital, if I'm not mistaken, or he came up, he was around a little after she was born, or when she was born. I can't remember, because she was born in 2006. So he was actually hanging around a little bit, then he was gone again. So next thing I know, he of course he knew where we lived then after that. So he came over. I remember it was one Saturday, and me, my late husband, on Saturdays, my late husband, he always got up early. Children, everybody, that was just lay around day for me, but everybody else was always up and about. So a knock on the door, and it was my biological father. And so he didn't call, and I don't think he called or nothing. He just popped up over there. So my late husband, that didn't sit too well with him, because he was like, now it's okay for him to come back in your life or whatever. I'm not gonna, whatever that, buck against that, but this is my house. And he said, I take care of this house. And, this popping up over here, that just didn't sit well with him. He didn't really care for that. Because he told me, he said, this just fake. He said, he just putting on the front. And he was. But of course, at that time, I was just happy to have him around. So I couldn't see what my late husband saw. But he was right, y'all. Like I said, I shared that in the previous video. God gave him some discernment. He gave it to him. He saw a lot of stuff, and he noticed a lot of stuff right off the bat. But anyway, it was on a Saturday. He came up to the house, and we, how it is on Saturday. Everybody, stuff all over the place and trying to clean up and stuff. And he brought the children, my youngest son and the girls, brought them some little toys, or I don't know what that was, some little stuffed animals or something. They already got plenty of toys, but that was his little gift of love again. And so they was happy. They were children. They happy to get it. And then I think he brought them some chips or something. I don't know. And so, but like I said, I guess he was trying to redeem himself of all the years he didn't take care of their mom. So he was trying to, this is my way. And which that's, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. So this is how some people say, I'm sorry. Or this is how some people apologize. So at that particular time, I was okay with it. I didn't say, get out of my house, and I didn't want you in I didn't say, I was real cordial to him. So anyway, then after that Saturday, I'm gonna give y'all a little tip, y'all. So my late husband, if he didn't really care for you, he had very few words. So that's how you knew he didn't care for you. It would be open, shut conversation, open, close conversation. You ask him something, he answer it, and then either he'll disappear out the room, or he'll just shut down. So, okay, because he listening, he watching and paying very close attention to you. after that. But he ain't gonna engage in nothing you talking about. He's paying attention. He listening. That's just how he was. That's what he was doing to my dad. He didn't care for him. He did not. But like I said, he wasn't mean to him. But it was just like, what you doing, man? Where you been? And so after my biological father, after that time, he left from the house that Saturday. I didn't see him for a little while. So then he shows up. I'm just letting y'all know, y'all, how crazy people, how people can do crazy stuff. It's all over the place. And you just accept, they say to you, this is me. This is what I do. I ain't gonna say I'm sorry. I ain't gonna say forgive me, but I'm gonna do this because this is my way. And it's okay, because some people, that's just how they are. And, you just deal with it, I guess. But he came up to the house, I can't remember how far after that Saturday, but he brought a lady with him, his girlfriend. Cause I can't remember they were married or a girlfriend. I can't remember. I think they ended up getting married, but when he brought her, I think they were about to be married. So don't ask me why he needed my approval, because he ain't even been in my life, but he brought her over there, and she, I guess she looked okay. I mean, but she was an older lady, and they came in a nice little car, whatever, and he said, yeah, this is my daughter, and I don't know, y'all, now that I think back on a lot of that, I think he was trying to show her, this, because I'm not being braggy or whatever, uppity, but at that particular time, which is probably still applies now, me and another child that he helped bring into the world, we were the only ones that actually were doing something, like actually had accomplished something. Everybody else was just doing all type of, just foolishness. So I believe he was trying to show her, look at what I helped bring in this world. Because like I said, we lived in a nice home, had nice cars. My husband was a hard worker. I was a hard worker. Children, nice looking children. So we wasn't rich, but we was rich in Jesus, and we had, we had some nice things. We worked for him. So I feel like he was trying to show her, look at my child right here. But it was to no help from him. It was to no help from him. But that's what I'm saying, y'all. People will ride off of what somebody else, their struggles, their what they had to do. But now all the work's been done, and my mom came. Yes, she helped me. Yes, she did, because she was my mother. But all the honor, glory, and praise go to Jesus. Because if it had not been for him, I would have lost my mind. I probably would have been on the street somewhere, drugging or whatever. But I didn't go through none of that. So anyway, praise to God. But so he brought the lady over, and the lady she was still so talkative, his fiance. Well, and I'm like, why are you trying to get my? And they came over there maybe once or twice, and after that, didn't see him again for a long time. And then next thing I know, I think they end up getting a divorce or whatever. He didn't stay married with her. Like I said, he don't stick around long with his women or his children, and so that's his track record. So anyway, after that, fast forward to he found out the church we were going to. So he knew that I was married to a son of my husband was the oldest son of a pastor. So he found out what church we were going to, and he started coming to church, popping up at church. And so, y'all, this is a sad note, because I thought this was kind of funny. So he would come to church, and so keep in mind, my mom and my stepfather had been coming too. So you know how we do, because I would have did the same thing. So I had a lot of members, and I was very active in church. At my father-in-law church, he ministered. All of us were, the daughter-in-laws and sons and everybody. Everybody was just active, children, everybody. And so all of us talked or whatever, and we cut up with each other. So when like I said, my mom and my stepfather had been visiting sometime, every now and then on special days, Mother's Day, whatever, Father's Day, or some type of event. So when he started coming, my biological father, they said, who is that man? And they knew he was some kin to me, but see, they always just knew my stepfather. And so, because I made sure when my step, because, that was the only dad I had in my life, really. other than my father-in-law, but they knew him, but saw him all the time every Sunday. But I would always make a big deal when my stepfather came. But this my, it is that and the other, and some knew him from his car place, So, it was always a really good mix there. But then when he started coming, he messed up everything. And what I mean by that, it started being a lot of questions. So then they would say, well, is that your daddy? Is that who is that man? And then one man asked me, associate minister asked me, did your dad used to play basketball back in the day? And I'm like, what? And y'all, I couldn't even answer that question. And that made me feel some type of way. I told my late husband, how can I answer anything about his past? He wasn't even in my past. So I don't know nothing about that. And I used to say, well, I don't know, I think so. And so then come to find out when he started coming, popping up at church and coming to church, that didn't last long either. He came for a little while and then he stopped coming to it. Like I said, he don't stick around long. And so one of the members there, he approached me. I remember one Sunday, and this was after my father had been there a few times, and he said, I saw your daddy over on such and such street. And I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah. I said, something. He was just trying to let me know he's seen him. And I was like, okay, like, so, after he started coming to church, because come to find out, some of the members knew him from back in the day. And then they were like, that's your daddy? And I was like, yeah. And then I started like being quiet then, because I'm like, I don't know what he did back in the day around them. And, and of course, then I had a people-pleasing spirit. So I was trying, my late husband said, you need to just be quiet. You need to be quiet, because you finna find out some stuff you probably don't even want to find out. And I was like, oh. But, so anyway, like I said, that one particular man, he was always in my face after he found out that was my dad. Well, I know him from back in the day, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. I don't know him really at all, but okay, you probably know him way better than I do. I'm thinking that to myself. So fast forward, he, like I said, in and out my life. So I would tell my mom, when I go over there on Sunday or whatever, and say, guess who came to church today? And she didn't want to hear it. She didn't want to hear no parts of it, because that just rattled her. Because she said, what are you coming over there for? And now that I think back on that, y'all, no shade to my mom, because I don't dish shade to nobody. But now that I think back on that, I'm giving you the truth here. A lot of times people don't want people to, sometimes do nice stuff, because that's going to reveal stuff. And as I shared the video regarding her, he told me some stuff that I never knew, about how they tried to abort me and stuff like that. So, she was like, her antenna was up, like, okay, he getting close to her. He ain't been in her life. What he gonna tell her? What he gonna share with her? And which it shouldn't have mattered, because I should have already known everything, but I didn't. I did not. So anyway, fast forward to my late husband passing away. He came around. I remember and this was probably the first money that he had ever gave me ever in my entire existence, probably, that was actually given to me, because I don't believe he paid child support for me or anything like that. But so after my husband passed away, late husband passed away, he called me, and he was just all, well, I'm gonna be with you on the day of the funeral, and you need somebody to be there for you. And I said, well, I got my children, and my youngest son had already told me, and my oldest son, they said, Mom, we'll be there for you. And the girls, so I'm like, why you wanna? But it was a for show, y'all. Like I said, he's very showy. He want to be seen, and he want to get some type of, look at me, this my daughter right here. Her husband died. I don't want in either one of their lives, but look at me now. Look at me. Look at what I got on. Because he always wore nice stuff, clothes or whatever. Like I said, he was A1 on outside. A1. And so after my late husband passed away, he wanted me to meet him. I met him at a gas station, and the kids were with me. And that day, y'all, he looked just so different to me. I don't know what had been going on with him that day. but his eyes looked different to me, and I don't know what was going on. I'm not judging, but something was off that day. But he met with me. He gave me just a little change or whatever, which I really didn't need any money. But that was his way of, showing, I guess, he loved me or whatever. So I accepted it. And he came to the car and told me he loved me, whatever. And I'm going to be at the funeral and this, that, and the other. And so he kept calling me, asking me, you want me to walk with you? I said, no, I have my children. You don't have to walk with me. So on the day of the funeral, of my late husband's funeral, he was there, but I don't recall. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if I saw him or I didn't see him. I can't remember. I think I did see him, but it was a glance at him as we were walking out of the church, headed to the cemetery. And but my aunt, house he used to go, he go over all the time. They catch him up on all the latest about me. Instead of him checking with me, she gave him all the info, and she told me, said, did you see your daddy at the funeral? And I said, I think I saw him, a glance at him or whatever. And they said, yeah, he was looking for you. And I'm like, okay. I was there, but sorry, my mind was on, getting my, focusing on burying my children's father, my husband. And so, I didn't have time for foolishness at all that day, at all. I wasn't going to deal with it. So anyway, he wanted me to see him and acknowledge that he was there. And I think he sort of felt some type of way slighted, because I told him, I said, no, my youngest son gonna walk with me. He'll be there. Me and him gonna walk in, and my children, walking in with my children. Oh, okay. So that seemed like that sort of offended him or whatever. But I'm like, where you been? Where you been? You always come out and pop up. You do pop-ups at these different times, at big moments in my life, and you want some type of acknowledgement or wanting some type of, well, this is who I am. But where have you been? Biggest days of my life, some of the worst days of my life. Where you been? Where have you been? So anyway, so after my late husband passed away, he was really coming around strong and trying to reach out to me and, asking me a lot of questions. And I'm trying to remember, what was it? He kept, and it was, of course, sort of giving me a little pause about him, because he was trying to come up to the house more, and he didn't do none of that. Y'all keep in mind. And I was like, what's your goal here? But see, people that are close to you, people that mean good, they will pray, P-R-E-Y, they will pray on you when things like this happen, death or stuff like that happens, because they see an opportunity. And I don't know if he thought he was gonna try to stay with me and thought I was gonna be dumb and ignorant, not really dumb, but ignorant, and just let him come, because I don't know if he had a place to stay in or what. I think he did, but he was just coming around so much after my late husband passed away, and which a lot of people were trying to take advantage of me. But God said, you ain't gonna even be here. Y'all finna move. And so Jesus saw that. He saw what they were plotting, planning, and scheming. None of it worked, including my biological father. But anyway, I cut that off, and he started asking me a lot of questions about my late husband, about the policy, and it's like he was just trying to capitalize off of his death. And like I said, he had no relationship with him, like he didn't have with me. No relationship with the children, but trying to come around after he passed away so he can, I don't know if he's trying to dominate in my life or take advantage of me. I don't know, y'all. I don't want to think like that about him, but I just thought it was sort of weird. He coming around after the man of the house is passed on, And like I said, which my late husband told me, he said, I'm gonna let you know if anything ever happens to me, he said, people gonna come out the woodwork. He said, they gonna come in strong. He said, cause they see an opportunity to manipulate you, or cause see, he was blocking a lot of stuff. I'm not saying he was, I couldn't do anything. I'm saying they saw a strong man. They saw a man that took care of his responsibilities. So a lot of stuff they weren't able to get through because he was there. So that's what it was. And so stuff that I was trying to do, go around people, and he said, that's not a good idea. So he was my, he kept me straight. God used him to help me in a lot of situations. But anyway, I, uh, you know, uh, after, like I said, he was trying to reconnect and real strong. And like I said, I cut that off. And of course, he quit coming to church and stuff, of course. But after my late husband passed away, we had, that was COVID and everything. So we had quit going to, because my late husband's father had left that church. So he retired from that church. So, he went to another church. So we quit going to that church anyway. But like I said, after that, and I didn't hear any more from him. We had a heart-to-heart discussion 2020 during COVID, prior to my late husband passing away. And he actually encouraged me, my late husband, to talk to him to get a lot of things out of my spirit, out of my soul, so I could move forward. And I'm so glad he did that. That was the best decision I ever made. It was a hard one, but I did it. I did it with the help of Jesus. But yeah, so after my late husband passed away, I didn't speak to him anymore, or he didn't come around anymore. And then I'm trying to remember, he was reaching out to me, I think, before the Lord told us we were leaving Tennessee. And I finally blocked his number because I was like, I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. It's going to be the same old, and same old. And the Lord had told me over and over and over, cut people off. And that's what I did. I did just that. He said, you can't move forward looking back. You got to move forward. So anyway, I haven't, again, he knows that we're here. He was actually texting me when we first moved here in 2022, asking me, were we okay? And, I'm like, yeah, we're doing fine, And so, but y'all, oh, and I'm sorry. So, the last thing I want to share. So he, after we had the heart-to-heart talk in 2020, I was sitting in our dining room at the old house that we sold, the house we used to live in. And, he was texting me just back to back after we talked on the phone, because he was crying and he said, I'm sorry for not being there for you, this, that, and the other. And I said, I forgive you. And I told him, asked him to forgive me, because there was a time back when I was in my 20s, I lashed out at him and told him I wished that he wasn't my daddy and he didn't love me. And I was just in my feelings. But I did apologize, and I asked him to forgive me for that. And I was struggling, y'all. I was struggling. And so at that time in my life, because, I didn't know who I was in Christ. And so anyway, he when we had the heart-to-heart in 2020, after we got off the phone, he was crying and stuff. He said, he's texting me. He's like, well, send me a picture of you so I can save it on my phone and print it and put it in my apartment. And I was like, what? So, I never, I was like, well, I've taken pictures with you when you were coming to church, so use one of those. But anyway, he was just super duper involved with me. Like I said, it didn't last long, as always. He was on that little, he was really into doing that, and then didn't hear from him again until we moved here in 2022. So 2 years later, that's just his track record. Sometimes it's longer. But anyway, y'all, I wanted to share this video. I didn't mean to go this long. It's almost an hour. But I just this was in my spirit to share. So I always like to obey the Lord. So I pray that this video blesses somebody. A lot of times, I remember what my late husband used to say all the time. Never really accepted it, but I accept this statement now. He said, he told me, he always looked me dead in the eyes, and he said, he did more. He's talking about my biological father. He said he did you the most good by not being in your life than he ever could have did by being in your life. He said, look how you turned out. And I said, yeah. He said, you married, you got 4 children. He said, you living, you ain't just we living our best life, not maybe how we really want to live. But he was just talking about, at that time I was into material stuff or whatever. But he said this, you're in the church, you're doing what probably you would have never did. That's what he was telling me. But one thing that my late husband was incorrect about, I'm living my best life now because I got a relationship with Jesus. I wasn't living then. No, I wasn't. I thought I was, but he probably was. You know, because I really believe he was a whole lot closer to Jesus than I was. But I wasn't. I was struggling spiritually, but I am now. I'm living my best life now because I know Jesus and I know him for myself. But again, this is no way, form or fashion, bashing my daddy, or I can't believe she got on here talking about her daddy like that. Y'all, this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You know, God is my witness. You know, I don't have time in this season to get on here lying and so trying to make somebody look bad. All that, what I'm telling you, why would I do something that's been done to me all my life? There's no reason. I would never do that. But I'm sharing this to free somebody, to help somebody, to let somebody know, forgive those people who have manipulated you, who have abused you. Some people have did stuff to you they ain't gonna never apologize for. Forgive them. Forgive them. Let it go. And I'm just like my late husband said, I'm better. I'm so much better. I did so much better without him than him being in the home. And I feel like this is another thing. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I feel like, you know, he was, you know, I'm not gonna say mental issues, but I'm gonna say he was very short-tempered, you know, because when they said about he, you know, spanked me and said it sounded like it was just a weird spanking, like it was over the top spanking. That's what it sounded like for a little, you know, child, because, you know, she didn't go to the potty. I'm talking about me. So, you know, it just, like I said, it wasn't funny, because there's nothing funny about that, you know. But anyway, I guess that made him feel like he was a daddy by doing that. But that would be the only time he would ever do that, from what I was told. Because after that, I'll be just about grown. But maybe that made him feel like a man or a daddy at that particular time. I don't know, but that's strange to me. But forgive people who have not been in your life the way they should have been. God gonna take care of them. But you know, I think about that scripture, Deuteronomy, the 10th chapter, verse 18. I'm gonna read it again. He defends the cause of the fatherless and the widow. And you know, that's what I've been. I'm a widow now, but I was fatherless all those years, and loves the alien, giving him food and clothing. So God took care of me, y'all. He took care of me all those years. Yes, he did. Then he allowed me to meet my late husband, a man that was everything that my biological father never was, you know. So I want to share this too. So I'm going to share this and I'll get off of here. The other thing, like I said, remember I said he always knew, he knew my mom's family, you know, he knew everybody in the family. Like he knew their children, you know, he always had been around the family, so he knew everybody. So whenever somebody would pass away, or I don't really know about weddings, but he always come around for funerals. You see him for funerals. And then it started where for my stepdad, see, he knew my stepdad too from back in the day. And so just from friends of friends or whatever, you know, everybody was kind of in the same circles or whatever. And which is sort of strange, but that's how it was. And so they traveled in the same circles. So I remember this is one particular funeral. My stepfather's sister, her fiance passed away. He was at that funeral, walking tall. And my mama was so rattled. She was hot. She was hot that day because because you know, now it was like he's stepping over his bounds. He's stepping over into you know, it's like, what you doing now? You overstepping your bounds now. Now you over into my husband's, the man who took care of your daughter after you left, you know, just up and left. Now you coming around his family, you know, and he was there. But I went and hugged him or whatever and talked to him for a little bit. But it was always like he was what I'm trying to say, the analogy of that. Well, like he was a visitor, you know, he's just visiting me. I was getting visiting time with him. You know how when you get, what I'm trying to say, you get granted visitation. Yeah, that's what it was. That's what I felt like. Okay, let me hurry up and say what I want to say. I got to tell him everything that I did in 10 years in 20 minutes. You know, that's how I felt, y'all. I'm serious. And so, like I said, he was and even my my stepfather's sister was like, she didn't know him, but she was like, that's your daddy. So when he would come around and do stuff like that, people would start asking a bunch of questions, you know. And then that made my mama upset because she wanted to let that go. But see, stuff that, you know, a lot of times your past come back for you if you ain't settled things. But anyway, I was happy to relive it because I never lived it. So I was happy when I seen him. But then the other part, he would be coming around to the funerals of my mom's family. He always be there, always be there. And so, you know, walking tall, like he been around. He be hugging and dapping it up with my mom's siblings and, you know, the different family members and stuff. And they would welcome him. You know, nobody said, get out of my face. Nobody said, I don't want to talk to you. They all greeted him. They thought, it's like they just thought the world of him, you know. So that's what we deal with, y'all, you know, or that's what I've dealt with. And like I said, I want to come on here and just share that I've forgiven him. I've let that stuff go. God has delivered me from that because he said, I'm your father. I've always taken care of you. I never was hungry. I never went without anything. My mom took real good care of me. Then my stepdad came on the scene. You know, he took care of me. And, you know, and then I became of age and I got married. And then my late husband took care of me. So I've always been taken care of. But my heart goes out to him, my biological father, as well as others. I pray for their soul. I pray that the Lord will heal their wounds. Pray that hurt people. And I no way I hate him. No, I love him. I love him more because I realized the reason he did what he did. He was never really raised to be a father. He was never raised to do what was right. You know, that has to be in you to do that. Nobody can teach you that. That has to be already there. Like my late husband, that was already there. That's the way he was raised. He saw his dad take care of his mom and their siblings. It's automatic. He was on automatic. You know, some stuff, you know, some people just don't have it. It's not in them to do that. And that's okay. That's okay. I accept that. But I thank the Lord that, you know, what I was going to say. So yeah, I feel like he would have been short-tempered, and, you know, it probably was a blessing. Well, it was a blessing for me and my mom that he was not in our life, because, you know, I don't know, he could have, I hate to say this, but he could have been abusive, you know, mentally or physically, to me and her. I mean, I don't know. I pray that would not have been the case, but the Lord, whatever it was, the Lord said, no, this is the way it's going to be, because you better off, talking about me, God said, you better off without him. You're going to be way better off, because I got a path. I got your steps are ordered. Your steps are ordered. So I thank the Lord for ordered steps. So I pray, as always, you were blessed through this video. I pray that you always hear Jesus speaking through me and not just me. Have a beautiful, blessed Thursday. Y'all, tomorrow, Friday. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. And excuse me. Thank you all for listening, subscribing, commenting on this channel. It's a blessing to me. I pray I'm always a blessing to you. The best is still yet to come for you and for me. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. I pray that you have blessed somebody. You were already blessed when you woke up. God woke you up this morning. Thank the Lord for all that he has done, he's doing, and he's getting ready to do in your life. He's so wonderful to us all. His grace and his mercy forever and ever for us. He gives it to us each day. New grace, new mercy. And again, I love you, but remember, Jesus loves you so much more. Thank you all again for listening to this video, and I pray someone is blessed from it. If you need to forgive somebody, let it go. Ask the Lord to take that out of your heart. Go on, keep moving forward. God got greater for you. He got greater for me. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good night.